Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the AAS YouTube channel. And this is part of the good stuff. This is the AAS Journal Author Series. And I'm super happy to have Matija Ćuk with us today. Hi, Matija.
Hello.
Where are you located at, Matija?
San Jose, California.
San Jose. I was born in San Jose.
Oh.
I really, my mom flew in when she was, of course I wasn't there, but I'm told she was flew in when she was 7 months pregnant and then had me in San Jose. And then 2 months later we moved out, but yeah, I'm a hoser. I was born in San Jose.
You missed a nice place to grow up in then.
Well, I did do my graduate work at Santa Cruz, which is not too far from there. So
that's right.
I did end up coming back a little bit. But these days I'm in Phoenix on this March 8th, 2022. It's cool here in Phoenix. Is it wet in the Bay Area?
No, it's nice and sunny. And I doubt that what you call cool is really cool for most people.
Hey, that's an awesome t-shirt. What does that say? My battery is low.
It's Mars Rover meme. I have to make a shout out from my sister-in-law who gets items like that.
Very cool. That's very cool. Well, thanks for sharing that. That's great. But yeah, what do you like to do for research?
So I'm an orbital dynamicist. That means that I study orbits, and theoretically, means that I do calculations all the time. And just like most of us, I just sit at the computer all day and type. But what I type are calculations for orbits of satellites, of the planets in the solar system, asteroids. I did some work on the Oumuamua, and that's it. Kind of did lots of different bodies, but it's always orbits.
Are these mainly in-bodies? In-body problems?
Yes, they are. But it's small but lots of orbits, unlike what some other people are doing. So like millions of years, lots of orbits, but not that many bodies.
Yeah, got it. Cool. And that is going to bring us to this very lovely APJ letter. 3-body resonances in the Saturnian system. And Matija, take us away.
Yeah, so this is the work I did with Mariam El-Mutamid, who's at Cornell, another orbital dynamicist. And this is a part of a much larger project we have on trying to figure out what happened in the Saturnian system, because Saturn has this extremely exciting system of moons, many of them, and their orbits do all kinds of things. Some of them have resonances, so it's a good time to remind people what resonance is. It's when two moons or planets have an integer or rational ratio of orbital periods. So one is twice the orbital period of the other, or 3 halves, or something like that. And we have pairs of moons in Saturnian system that have these integer ratios. Like Enceladus and Dione. Enceladus has half of the orbital period of Dione. Sometimes we are just perverse, so we call them 4:2 instead of 2:1, which is the same thing. There's actually a reason for that. But these are what we call 2-body resonances, meaning that there is an integer ratio between two moons. But in this paper, we talk about resonances when there is a more complex relationship between orbital periods of 3 moons.
Okay. And
that can come by in several different ways, which we explain in the paper. This is a kind of paper where we generally say computer is smarter than us, because there are things we expected to find. We ran the simulations, and then all kinds of interesting things showed up once we ran the simulation.
Okay.
So maybe we can go to the first figure.
Semi-secular 3-body resonances. Okay, let's blow that up. Okay. How about there?
Yeah. So this is the first kind of introduction to 3-body resonances. And just from looking at this plot, you won't be able to tell it's really 3-body. I'll tell you how it is, and you'll trust me. On top is just eccentricity of small moon Mimas. Okay. And what's happening here is that, and I guess I should say that here, this is all theoretical, and it's about things that could have happened in the distant past. Currently, there are no 3-body resonances that we observe. That's why they haven't been found so far. It's kind of a potentially historical thing. so we have on top eccentricity, orbital eccentricity of small moon Mimas, as it is moving outwards due to tides it raises on Saturn, and runs into so-called 1 to 3 resonance with Dione, which is another bit bigger moon. And the gray and the black are two different possible paths.
Oh, okay.
In both cases, the eccentricity goes up on the same curve, but then in the black one keeps going up and the gray one kind of drops out of the resonance. What happens there is that resonance stops. And the bottom is what we call resonant argument, which is an angle that is non-random if there is a resonance and random when there is no resonance. So you can see that the black one keeps going. It has a wider libration, as we call, while the gray is just random after that point. So, okay, so where is the third body here? Well, the way we plotted this nice plot bottom to get the non-random resonance includes a position of the pericenter of Titan, meaning that you cannot make this plot with just orbital elements of Dione and Mimas. You have to put in Titan in it, which means that Titan is a party to the resonance. Titan is the largest moon of Saturn, which is nowhere near these. It's pretty far out, but it's also the largest. And nothing actually happens to Titan because it's huge and doesn't care about these small things. But it's an effect here, and the resonance happens very differently because Titan is there. So one consequence, for example, is if you look at the gray curve on the top, after it flattens out, there is this kink towards the end, right there.
14.
So that's a resonance that involves only Dione and Mimas. And if we didn't have the first one, which made eccentricity pretty high, that one would be, would lead to a capture, what we call, which is kind of constant increase in eccentricity. So the fact that there's other things happening beforehand changes the whole history of the system.
Right.
Cool. And these two different paths we've shown here depend on is Dione, one of the moons, eccentric or not to begin with. You don't see this on a plot, but so there are different ways it could have started and evolved. But the bottom line is that if you put Titan in the simulation as we did, it fundamentally changes the history of this resonance.
Yeah. Wow.
And something we didn't really realize before doing it in a computer.
Okay, cool. Very nice. So
we have a couple of other ways three bodies can get into a resonance. So the next one, so figure 2, this one is really complicated and involves moons Tethys, Dione, and Enceladus. So on the plot, let's start with the second from the top. That's eccentricity plot. And you can see that the light blue is Enceladus. So it's flat for a while and then does all kinds of interesting things and then kind of flattens out in the end. So we have a two-body resonance between Enceladus and Dione. We assume that it's there. It's actually observed. So it's natural. It's currently there. But then there is a three-body resonance with Tethys, which has 8 to 11 resonance with Enceladus. So now we are getting to really weird ratios. But so we have, Enceladus has 1/2 of the period of Dione and 8/11 of that of Tethys, and that leads to this confusion and increase of eccentricity temporarily, because this situation cannot last long. And you get a big kick to Enceladus, smaller kick to Tethys, which is which is kind of in between the sizes of the other two moons. That's the purple there. And then the green is eccentricity of Dione, which doesn't really care in this one. So that's pretty much, there's much more there to say. Oh, I showed you the top. Yes, so the top is normalized orbital distance. So we normalize to the beginning value. So they start from 1, all of them. Actually, they're all at very different distances. And what you can see is that the blue and the green, which are Enceladus and Dione, go together. They go together because they're already stuck to each other. And Tethys is going out faster, but then it slows down while all this triple interaction is going on, and then goes on its own way.
Yeah.
But what it does is pushes Enceladus out.
Yeah.
And so you would think, okay, well, what's the big deal there? The big deal is that you have an outside moon pushing the inner moon out. That's a big no-no in orbital dynamics. Inner moon can push the outer moon out.
Right.
Because they have to converge to push each other. In this case, they are diverging. The outer moon is moving out faster, but then when they get in the three-body resonance, it can push the inner moon out. And why do we care about Enceladus, how fast it's pushed? Well, it has famous tidal heating, ocean underneath the ice. How much heat there is interests many people. You have, you have fish. Well, I can't tell you about the fish, but I can tell you a little bit about its orbital evolution. Okay. So this is kind of a strange situation, but it's one where the rules are really reversed, and something we would never find out if not for the direct computation.
Yeah. Very cool.
And then the third kind of these three-body resonances. So the first kind was like two bodies with a little bit of a third body. Second was kind of two-body resonances mixed together. That Enceladus is involved with both Tethys and Dione. But the third kind, when you can see in Figure 3. So this is another one of the similar plots. One more plot of distances where they are scaled, and one more plot of eccentricities. This is a pretty standard three-body resonance that has nothing. There are no two-body resonances here. The only way this is a resonance if all three bodies are there, and we have Tethys, Dione, and Rhea, which are three neighboring moons. In the caption, you have this equation that describes their orbital motions. So in this case, you cannot say that one is 5/3 of the other, or so on. It's the best way to say that three mean motions of Tethys plus one of Rhea give you the 5 mean motions of Dione. Mean motion being the frequency of the orbital motion.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the reason why these are interesting to us is that we did not expect them to exist at all. We discovered them numerically, and then they are in like kind of in their point of history of the system, separate from everything else. They're in between other things, and without these numerical results, we wouldn't expect there to be anything. So it just adds more. If you think there weren't enough resonances before, well, now we have even more.
Very nice. Yeah. Very nice.
So the point of the paper, it's a letter, is just like we found these things, and now everything is even more complicated. How about that?
How about that?
Yes.
Very cool. Well, that's probably the most succinct summary I've ever heard. Matija, that was awesome. Very good. Thank you so much for walking us through your very nice letter here.
Thanks for asking.
So now that you've discoveries are cool, and now that you've discovered something, sort of where do you go from here with this? Is there going to be a longer article where you study this in more depth than what one can do in a letter? Or are there potentially some observations along the way? Just sort of where do we go over the next, let's say, 2 to 5 years? Well,
there are at least two separate avenues from here. One is what I'm working on right now, where I'm taking into account actual observations. Observations have found that not only are there many moons interacting with each other, but the tidal response of Saturn is much different from what expected. That there are certain frequencies at which Saturn dissipates energy like crazy, which means that at some moons might move fast due to tides and some might not.
Okay.
And right now, for example, we know that Rhea and Titan are moving much faster than we would expect from some basic assumptions that everything is moving at the same rate. And I want to combine some of these results with trying to explain where the present system is,
Right.
how how it works. But where the three-body resonances really would come in handy is a kind of a longer term that we have to look at the past of the system. And in particular, there is this major resonance that I already studied in one previous paper that involved Ione and Rhea. I have to put all the moons back in now. I have to redo it. Why? Because if any resonance between any two moons could potentially affect a third moon, then you just have to put everything in and see what happens.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Very
So
cool.
that's kind of a bit longer range. Well, right now I'm working on the kind of reconciling the theory with observations.
Right. No, I think that's very cool. Nice. Very good. Well, I look forward to seeing some of these two-pronged directions coming to a manuscript in the next couple of years. So very cool.
Thank you.
All right. And that'll do, everyone. Thank you so much. And I hope this made your astronomy day just a little bit better, and we will see you on the next one. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thanks.